does the Venus Project propose? Okay, what the Venus Project proposes, and hence what the Zeitgeist movement advocates, is the shifting of our dominant value systems towards relevant awareness and alignment with the emergent and symbiotic aspects of natural law, embracing the embracing of advanced technology to create an abundance, and thus the transition away from our current corrosive and corrupted monetary system towards what we call a resource-based economy. We recognize excuse me. We recognize that we live in an emergent and symbiotic natural world, meaning that everything from the state of nature to human thoughts and understandings are in constant transition, and also that we as human beings are an integral part of nature and its processes. With this in mind, we are not separate from nature, and we rely upon it for our very survival. We call for the intelligent management of the planet's resources, and since we do not acknowledge the separatist notions such as class, religion, or race, or so forth, we see the entire human species as one singular organism, not separate from nature and not separate from each other. We all share this planet, and thus we must all share its resources. This is why we propose that the Earth's resources need to be declared as the common heritage of all human beings. We also advocate the optimization and implementation of advanced technology to create an abundance for all human beings, liberating humanity, dramatically relieving psychosocial stress, and also, and quite importantly, the utilization of the scientific method used for social concern. Question 4. What is a resource-based economy? A resource-based economy, as I shall refer to it henceforth, an RBE, is essentially an economic paradigm that is, as the title suggests, based upon the intelligent management of the Earth's resources, which, as I've denoted, are declared as the common heritage of every man, woman, and child on this planet. Now, when I say common heritage, I mean that every single human being is equally deserving of what the planet can provide. You are entitled to the necessities of life all the way from birth to death. You may think that this is exactly how we do it today. However, this isn't the case. Our current system is based on money, and money is not a resource, and it never has and never will represent resources. For this reason, among many, many others, money will not exist in an RBE. As I stated earlier, advanced automation and technology will be utilized to create an abundance for all the planet's inhabitants, and also to liberate the human species as a whole from the drudgery, monotony, and sheer life-wasting labor that we are forced to endure day after day. It's just logical, okay? In terms of function, an RBE can be easiest compared to the human body. The human being as a biological machine is a wonderful and even miraculous creation. It functions on pure necessity and automatic functions. For example, when your body sustains an injury or contracts an infection, your nervous system doesn't hold a vote on what exactly to do about the problem. It acts accordingly and instantly. There is no deliberation, no interrelating corrupting vested interest, no bias, no hesitation, no ulterior motives, none of that. The reaction is instantaneous and optimal. An RBE is taking a leaf out of nature's book and creating a societal and economic structure that is modelled on the simplicity, empirical logic, and harmony of the human body. An RBE is the logical, ethical, and humane choice of an economic system. Not just because we are rapidly running out of the precious resources that we need to survive, but also because what is critical to our survival as the human race on this planet is the complete shifting of our values and considerations towards both ourselves and our way of life, but also each other on this planet. Okay, question 5. Why move away from the monetary system? Uh, why not? To understand the urgency and necessity to move away from this social and economic paradigm, we must first understand how aberrant and corrupt this system is. Okay, as it stands at present, we are rapidly expiring our oil. We are engaging in mass pollution of our environment and ever-growing methods of murder and suffering, and we are racking up ever-increasing national and international debts purely for one sole motivation, and that is profit. Our current monetary system advocates nothing but blind consumption, resource waste, and the pursuit of profit, which is nothing more, really, than the pursuit of differential advantage. Excuse me. We are told that the acquisition of wealth is the key incentive to prosperity. However, we acknowledge that this is one of the main factors which has made the world as selfish and hostile as it is. While the poor and weak are left behind to starve and perish, the rich and powerful thrive and prosper. We at TZM and TVP, obviously the Zeitgeist Movement and the Venus Project, which I'll give those acronyms for, advocate the incentive system which is based upon true altruism towards others. We will do what we do not for rewards or medals or honour, but just that it is an honour to do it. Consequently, this is why we advocate the transition away from the greed-based monetary system to an economic model that takes care of all humanity, leaving no one behind and everyone cared for. You don't need any credentials to understand what we talk about. No, I mean, this direction actually is very simplistic. Even when it comes to economics, you don't need any credentials. I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory. But we're not after your money either. I mean, we want your time, not your money. You got to remember to always reserve judgment in the absence of facts. An open mind and unconditional love are two of the best tools we as human beings possess. They are the key to unlocking our dreams and the path to a better future for all humankind. Now, sorry for that tangent. Back to economics. Our economic system, in part, functions upon the assumption of infinite resources and perpetual growth. Consumption to fuel GDP is what fuels this economy. However, this mentality does not take into consideration the fact that the monetary system is contingent upon infinite growth on a finite planet. Okay, I'll repeat that again. Infinite growth on a finite planet. How can you have a system based on infinite growth in a finite environment? And of course, the answer is you can't. It's mathematically unsustainable. Now, at this point in time, the UK's national debt alone is somewhere in the region of, 965 billion? And it's expected to rise by a further 167 billion by the end of the year. Now, you may be asking, why is this such an astronomical number? The question can be answered very simply. The process of money creation and transference through what's known as fractional reserve banking stipulates that for any deposit or loan that occurs within the banking system, about 90% of the base money or the principal can be created out of thin air on top, and therein lies a big part of the problem. Additionally, money can only come into existence through loans from a central bank, and this new money comes into existence with immediate interest attached to it. Where does the money come from to pay off the interest? It can only come from two places. Number one, the money already in circulation, and number two, from the central bank again, which also comes into existence with more debt. This ensures an ever-growing deficit can never be escaped. To cut a long story short, there are numerous reasons why the monetary system is debilitating and inherently destructive for human survival and progress. To understand this fully, and to make this realization fully, you must research this formality for yourself. There are many, many books and documentaries on the internet that you can view for free that will help you understand exactly how corrupt and backwards this system of money really is. And that's the point. Independent thought and independent research are two of the greatest tools we can use in view of seeing the world for what it really is, as opposed to following along with any ideology or just accepting it for how it is. There's many things. For one thing, there's the book Modern Money Mechanics. That basically describes exactly how fractional reserve banking works. Now, is that some sort of material we have come out with? Is it some sort of conspiracy booklet? No, it's it's an instructional booklet released by the Federal Reserve Bank of Chicago. So this is straight from the horse's mouth, okay? Excuse me. Question 6. Who makes the decisions in a resource-based economy? Okay, this is a very, very, very common question, actually. The fact of the matter is that no one makes decisions in a resource-based economy. The angle you need to look at this from is how are the decisions arrived at. The idea of people making decisions has always proven to be a subjective and unsound practice because human decision-making is almost always contingent upon different interrelating factors such as emotion, values, monetary considerations, ego, power, and ideological standpoints. I'll give you a for instance on how decisions can be arrived at using science rather than made by human considerations. Now, imagine that yourself and 5 other people own a plot of land, and say you all wanted to plant a fruit-bearing tree on that land. Just one tree between 5 people, since the fruit of that one tree will be sufficient. Now, a pivotal question is where will the tree be situated on this plot of land? If all 5 of you also live on this land, then it may be considered greedy, selfish, and rather unfair for one of you to suggest that the tree to be situated closer to your home. Now, maybe you would all agree to have the tree situated directly in the middle of the land, an equal distance from all 5 homes, but if you think about it, this is just decision-making governed by petty reasoning. There's no empirical logic behind any of these considerations, and that's all. And it's all, quite frankly, built around, or should I say, sidestepping around emotional responses and reactions. Here's how we can solve this problem and hence arrive at this decision using the scientific method. Number 1. We analyze the soil across the plot of land to find the areas with the best pH levels. Number 2, we search the areas of soil which contain the most nutrients and moisture. And number 3, we assess the areas of the land which get the best sunlight, which will facilitate a greater level of photosynthesis. When you collate all these findings together, you will arrive at a decision on where to place your tree. You see, it's not about the ridiculous ego considerations. It's about finding the best way to do what you are doing. Now, you may be thinking, but this optimal place for the tree is now closer to his home. So what? We've just devised an unbiased method of providing for all 5 of you, and yet you still want to quibble. Don't you think it's time that we just, got over ourselves? The utilization of the scientific method can not only be used for situations such as this, but also for nearly any decision which needs to be arrived at. Or how this example can be shown, to be, used as a microcosm for what can really be done, Is this how politicians make their decisions? Not in the slightest. When we apply this on a societal level, we can see vast potential open up for us. And when you're using science to acquire the best, not just for the individual but as society as a whole, then what arguments can stand up against this? You can't debunk anything that truly works for the benefit of humanity as a whole on an unbiased basis. Pardon me. Question 7. What will happen to religion? will people still be